this is where they start. One day Coach Bormet's going to be looking for a 33-pounder or a 57-pounder, or is it still 57? I don't know. 49-pounder.
Yeah.
He's going to be looking for those guys. You say, you know, I was in Vermilion, and I remember that kid. You know, that kid played for the state a couple of times. I remember working with that kid. He may do that. Or you may say, where do I want to go to college at? You might start watching the Big Ten Network and start watching Coach Bormet coaching matches on Sundays, or following the NCAA championships, or following the Big Tens. This is where relationships start. And guys, relationships in this sport is everything. All right? You have grades. I'm not going to insult Coach Bormet and say, what are you looking for in a kid? Because if I have to ask Coach Bormet that question, then Coach Bormet knows that this is not the guy I want. All right? He knows that you got to be smart. You got to know you got to be smart. He knows that you got to be tough. If you have to ask those two questions, you're not wrestling for this man. All right? So just know you need to be a badass, 100% on the books and on the mat. And you have to every opportunity to get better you take. Then you can entertain talking to a man like this. All right? And the same goes back that way. So, with that being said, sit up. With that being said, I want you guys to ask Coach Bormet some questions. And don't say, what are you looking for in a college wrestler? Because I just told you two things he's looking for. All right? But ask him some questions so you can start to understand this process where you're going to be one day. And that's the whole purpose of this, is to get an education. The whole purpose of all this is to get an education at a good school. And the last I heard, Michigan's a pretty decent school.
#1 public school in the country.
Wait, where's Gus? Is he going to argue that? I think the VBA guys like to argue that. So anyways, if you have questions, now's the time to ask. There's an opportunity to ask the top of the field right now. The top of the field right here. Ask them a good question. Somebody.
Yeah. That's a great question. You know, I wrestled all the way through college. I wrestled, I was assistant coach in Wisconsin, and mostly I was doing that because I was training and competing, wrestling for the U.S. national team for about 5 years before I really realized I wanted to coach. I really never thought about coaching. I was just pretty much consumed with training and competing myself. But I was coaching some guys on the college team while I was there training, and I tore my ACL 1 year, so I was out for about 6 to 8 months. The time I was out, I started to, all the time I would normally spend training and focusing on my own wrestling, I started to pour all that time and energy into a couple really special guys we had on the team. And I just started to really kind of realize and get a good grasp on the rewards that coaching could give you, you know, in terms of, you know, being competitive, helping other guys achieve their goals, guys that are really hungry and focused on being the best in the country, best in the world. You know, and there was just a lot of satisfaction in that. I like to be really active. I love being around the sport of wrestling. I think it's the greatest sport for developing people. You know, because you got to work hard at it. You got to learn how to be a great teammate. You got to be really self-motivated, self-driven. You know, a lot of the attributes that make you really successful no matter what you do. I just really enjoyed the environment I was in every day doing that. And it was at that point I realized I thought I wanted to coach. Then I went to the University of Michigan. I was coaching there for a year and decided to open my own club, which is when I moved back to the Chicago area where I grew up, and I started a club because I wanted to focus a lot more on the training and control my income more and just kind of dictate my own schedule. But I wanted a lot of it to be in the training room here. This is the part I enjoy the most, is being in the wrestling room, you know, with wrestlers that are hungry to be the best they can possibly be. And I did that for 12 years. Then I had the opportunity to go back to the University of Michigan. And the club I built was really special to me. I mean, I spent 12 years pouring myself into it. It was before there weren't really a lot of clubs around the country at that point. And I spent a lot of time and energy building that club into one of the best clubs in the country. And I got a phone call with the opportunity to go back to the University of Michigan, which is where I wrestled and competed. My former head coach was still there, and he called me. It was a special opportunity for me. It was probably the only university I would have considered selling my club and leaving to go back and be a college coach. And with the idea that when he retired, I would hopefully we'd work hard and the team would be going like this, and I would have the opportunity to take over and be the head coach. You know, we worked hard and made those things happen, and now I've been the head coach. I just finished my 4th year. And it's a special place. Michigan's a special place. It was a great place for me. special place. I met my wife there. My daughter's going to play field hockey there next year. So, all you guys should be thinking about Michigan one day. I know there's some great universities in Ohio too, but you guys should be thinking about Michigan. All right, only 2 hours from here. Good question. Yes. It was called Overtime School of Wrestling, and it was really from I opened in 2001, and 2011, 12 that year I went back to Michigan, and then I sold it and ran for about another 4 or 5 years, and then the gentleman that bought it, his wife was running a volleyball academy, and they started to put all their energy into that, and they shut it down. But at the time, it was one of the best clubs in the country. And we had some great camps where we did a lot with the Ohio guys, St. Ed's guys, and we'd have some of the top kids around the country coming for weekend clinics like this, and it was great. Great. Yeah.
If we do go to Michigan, will you still be coaching there?
How old are you?
Well, if someone goes there.
Hopefully I'm still there. Hopefully I'm still there. I think I got some good years left ahead. I'm just getting started.
How long have you been around the sport of wrestling?
I started wrestling when I was 8. Great question. Similar to you guys, really. I mean, I was like 53 pounds, 8 years old when I started. My dad was the club coach, started a club. The thing I liked about it right away is I was kind of small for my age, and I liked it because I could still be really good at it. And I could beat a lot of the older guys. As I started to continue to get better, I could beat a lot of the older guys. And it was a sport that I could always be really good at, even though I was small. I didn't really start growing until I was a sophomore in high school. And I was like a 105 pounder, and then all of a sudden I went up to like 100, 145, 152, and then in college I was a 158 pounder. But a lot of my greatest memories are doing things like this: training, going on the trips, going to competitions, running around with my wrestling buddies, meeting guys from other schools, and that was a lot of the fun part of it. These things I was doing with all my teammates. It was really the same in college. I had 2 sports I really liked when I was little: hockey and wrestling. And I asked my dad if I could play hockey. And he looked at, I had like an information flyer about home from school, and he looked at it, and it was like 45 minutes away to get ice time. And like 2 days later, I was standing on a wrestling mat, like 2 blocks down the street from our house. So, pretty easy decision. and I played football too, but I loved wrestling because it was individual, and I was fully responsible for the work I put into it, and I was responsible for the results I got. And that's the thing I've always loved about it, and it's really no different in coaching. What you put into it is what you get out of it. And that's the same for a lot of things in life. That's one of the things I've always loved about wrestling. Anybody else? Good questions. At this point, coaching for me is super rewarding because of there's some great wrestlers and great people I get to work with. It's, every day you're constantly, it's like a puzzle trying to figure out how to help each guy reach their goals. In Michigan, we take a lot of pride in not just developing our wrestlers, but developing our student athletes and making sure that they're getting really good grades so they can be really successful professionally. We take a lot of pride in the tradition of our program. We have really, really successful guys, so when they're done with wrestling, they can go on and be really successful at many other things, the things they're getting their degrees in Michigan. So that part of it's really rewarding. And to be honest, I'm super competitive. I love to compete. And coaching Division I wrestling, specifically in the Big Ten Conference, it doesn't get any more competitive than that. I mean, you compete in everything you do as a coach, and I really love that part of it. Two other things I think are really important for you guys to think about when you're young, because wrestling is an individual sport. The other thing I look at, obviously, work ethic. Guys that love to work hard because you gotta work hard in the sport. And as you get older, you'll learn to appreciate working hard. You'll see the value in that even as you get older. You gotta have really good grades. You gotta be a good performer, on the mat in competition. But the 2 things I also really look at, and I like to recruit, are guys that contribute, bring a lot of energy to the program, bring a lot of energy to the team, and are really good teammates. Because the energy you create within your team and having each guy pull other guys up with them is really important. And the more guys you can get doing that, the faster you can become a really great team. So I look for those things when I'm recruiting. Great leaders, guys that bring a lot of energy to the team and to the mat. You know, when I go recruit, I like to go to the competitions. Two things I like to do. I like to go watch practice. I like to go watch competition. In practice, I watch for work ethic. I watch for like coachability, things like that. I look for the energy in the practice room. And then when I like to go watch competition, I like to watch the interactions. I like to watch the focus before a duel, win or lose, what's the reaction. I like to look at how's he interact with his teammates, how's he interact with the duel meet or the tournaments going on. Those are all important things of being part of a really successful team. You know, and also those are things I think are also rewarding. You know, I got as much enjoyment out of seeing my teammates win as I did even when I was in. Yeah, great question. Yeah, I don't know if everyone can hear him, but he asked a really good question. At what age did I start doing extra things? And I started when I was pretty young, but it was things that just motivated me. Like my dad got a small wrestling mat put in our basement, but he never really told me to go down and do stuff. He had it there when my friends would come over. I would bring them down and do wrestling stuff. He had some ropes and some chains he'd put around this beam, and I would do pull-ups. But the things that would motivate me, I would just find things like I would be watching other sports or some movie, and I would just get all of a sudden I'd get motivated to go down and do like a bunch of pull-ups and push-ups. It started when I was pretty young doing that kind of stuff. And I just enjoyed working out too. Thinking back about it, I really enjoyed working out. I liked being strong. I was pretty physically fit. Even though I was small, I was pretty fit. And then as I got older, I would say about my sophomore year in high school, we didn't have as many opportunities. We didn't have amazing places like this. You know, we didn't have as many of these opportunities that you guys have now to take advantage of. But around my sophomore year in high school, I stopped playing some other sports and I started really just focusing on most of my time in wrestling. And then I started like increasing my strength training a little bit. And I started like finding, I had a couple of really good coaches and I would go in and do some extra drilling, like in the spring and summer. And the wrestling was a huge priority to me. So as I got older, you know, the one thing I look back, a lot of the things I did was I would prioritize my training in the summers, make sure I would get my lifting in, some of my mat work and skill development. I would get that stuff in. I'd still go to the beach and I'd still do the other things my buddies were doing. I just wouldn't be doing it as much. I made sure I planned all that other stuff around the priorities for me, which were getting stronger and bigger and my skill development and spending time on the mat, working on skills with some of my coaches. You know, not every day, but 3-4 days a week I would be doing those things. And that was around sophomore year in high school. Good questions.
All right, guys. Hey, I got two things to say about overtime real fast. I don't remember. I walked into the locker room and Andre Orlowski was there.
Yeah.
Who knows Andre Orlowski? Come on, guys. Come on, guys. He trained at. Yeah, look him up. He was a scary dude.
I just saw him last week. He's still fighting.
Is he?
He had a fight in Las Vegas same weekend as US Open. I went and had dinner with him.
He's still scary looking?
Yeah.
Tough guy. Look him up. And the very first time I saw cauliflower ear on a girl.
Oh yeah.
Who was that?
Danielle.
Danielle?
Yeah, Danielle Obika. She was like one of the first Division I wrestlers. She was at Harvard. I was on the wrestling team at Harvard.
I'm sitting there scratching my head trying to figure that out. There's
Yeah.
this girl and she has her cauliflower ear. I was like, wow, what's going on here?
Yeah.
That was the very first time I ever saw it. That's kind of cool. We should probably get a picture.
Yeah, it'd be great.
We get a picture and we get you guys out of here.
Great job, guys. Good hard-working group, man. This is a special group.
Jump over here by the wall.
You're not stopping that.